Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a bright and natural sight. Everybody's B-52 bombers, strato tankers, ships, submarines, carrier groups. Let me tell y'all something, man. We got a lot of cats over there fixing to rain down hell on Iran. All right, folks, we putting the band back together, man. We looking at Iran. It looks like we fixing to go party over there. We're going to cut up Nate's video. Homeboy, I don't think it's happening, but, man, I loved your video. Y'all mad at me? Listen, man, we all in the same Kabul playing WWF. So listen here, man. Today we're going to talk about Iran, and it's banging. I'm Jake Zweig, United States Naval Academy graduate, Michigan MBA, mentor to some of the world's finest. Just have these tasty gang gummies are off the chain, baby. They got me unhinged in this camp. Okay? Cat's mad. We doing ads. Let me tell y'all something. I popped 3 of these bad boys an hour ago so I could come in here and light fire on this video. I don't know about y'all. I'm crushing these tasty gang gummies. I got some creatine gummies coming on the way because they're supposed to help with my brain health. So maybe I won't be slurring my words so bad. On that note, hey, come check out the Brain PDF. Send me an email, man. We helping vets all over the place. And another announcement, the game school is coming. Game school to Discord and Patreon. We're going to teach y'all how to actually meet people. All right, let's get into this banger.
We are teetering on the edge of the next major global conflict. It is all controversy between the United States and Iran. So what we're going to do in this video is talk about a timeline of events, how we got to this critical point that we're at now, and then also talk about U.S. forces buildup in the Middle East. Because if you guys didn't know, this is the largest buildup of U.S. military forces in the Persian Gulf since...
All right, let's talk about this real quick, man. Our boy Trump ain't playing around, okay? Walk softly, carry a big stick, all right? This man done moved half of our carrier force, B-2 bombers, B-52 bombers, strato tankers, ships, submarines, carrier groups. Let me tell y'all something, man. We got a lot of cats over there fixing to rain down hell on Iran. Trump does this to make sure they understand, listen, last time we played games with you, in 7 days, we sunk every one of your ships, okay? Now, what are we dealing with over in Iran? We got a bunch of Rudy Poot airplanes. They all strapped together. We got some MiG-29s. They got some legit stuff, but I don't think we're going to do anything. I think we're just going to surge up, put the scare in them, try to get this proxy war over in Israel slowed down. I think it's all just a posturing thing. But we won't know until the first bombs drop.
When the United States does something at this level, that's usually what happens very quickly after. Okay, so I'm also going to explain why I think it actually is pretty realistic. How this sort of all started, yes, of course, these hostilities go back decades, but let's just say from a recent standpoint and this big buildup and conflict that's happened recently, really started with Donald Trump issuing a negotiation or really a warning to Iran that it had to abandon all of its nuclear programs or face the consequences. Iran. Since then, obviously, the United States has been carrying out a lot of airstrikes in Yemen against the Houthis, which are obviously an Iranian-backed extremist group. And then Iran, just a few days ago, put out a basically threat to all of the allied Arab nations with the United States. So you have Qatar, Saudi Arabia, etc., that if they allowed the United States to launch any strikes from their soil, Iran would retaliate against those countries. Direct response to that, the United States already had one aircraft carrier strike group in the Persian Gulf with the USS Harry Truman, and we have just launched a second, the USS Carl Benson, to the region as well. On top of that is the relocation of 6 B-2 bombers to Diego Garcia, which we'll talk about. It's an island.
All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. Nate did a great job breaking down what's happening. The only way that we know that there's B-2 bombers in Guam is they issued a press release, okay? If you ask me, like, this is Sun Tzu at its finest. Show them strength. It don't get no better than this. We want them to know what we got coming for them, okay? So we're not doing this by accident. You know, I'm going to stand on posturing. You know, if they drop bombs tomorrow, y'all call me a liar.
35s have been sent to Jordan. All right, so there you go. We're at a Breakpoint, where essentially we have B-2 bombers and about to have 2 aircraft carrier strike groups ready to essentially obliterate Iran. So the question is why? Why would this actually happen? Is this all rhetoric? Is it all posturing between the two nations? I don't think so anymore. I think it probably is from the Iranian standpoint. I think they potentially got a little ahead of their skis with their threats on this one. They usually get away with it. But the biggest reason of why, let's just be honest, is our allies, and most specifically, one ally. Okay, so they absolutely hate Iran. Okay, everything that they deal with all the extremist groups, Hamas, Hezbollah, etc., those are both Iranian-backed extremist groups. All right, so they would love nothing more than for the Iranian regime to be wiped out, which would then cut off all funding to those groups that they're dealing with. And again, strategically for them would be a huge, huge victory. So yes, they 100% are doing everything they can to try to draw the United States into that conflict.
My man is purposely not talking about this one said Middle Eastern country because somehow it'll get you crushed on YouTube if you start talking about it. But I will say this. Back in, maybe like 6-7 months ago, we had the big missile strike from Iran. We shot them all down. They told us they were coming. It was because we killed the general. Listen, man, this stuff is heating up over there. But until I see the 82nd mobilizing and one of the Ranger bats on their way, yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up that anything good is going to happen, man. I'm going to say this. I don't think Trump's going to war. That's my 2 cents. I don't think it's happening.
He also is a massive, massive supporter. That is highly concerning when that strategic partner is so hell-bent on this war that we potentially get drug into it. Now, if you don't believe me, we just deployed an extra THAAD missile system and our Patriot missile systems to Israel. Okay, we have sent even more. So what does that mean? We are potentially getting ready for the defense of a counterstrike from Iran after the United States basically launches our attacks, right? So they want to be able to knock those missiles down that are going to definitely come for Israel after that strike. All right, the next big one, the military-industrial complex, of course, needs that cash. And so all of those big bucks that typically go to Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, et cetera, have dried up. And so it is no surprise that when one conflict funding dries up, another one starts, right? So we should not be shocked for the United States to try to get itself in another protracted conflict in the Middle East for another 20 years. It would be fantastic for all of them. And again, all of the politicians that get lobbied by them and invest heavily into defense stocks, all right? So I know it's a ugly thing to talk about, but it is the way this system operates. And on top of that, third one is whenever the economy is questionable, the United States always seems to find a way into a major conflict because, yes, war is good for big business and the economy. It always has been.
It's bad for young men. It's good for rich men. Nate is dropping bombs on this video. I know why this video did so well. Nate, shout out to Valhalla VFT. Man, you crushing this bad boy.
So the United States constantly seems to find its way into these major conflicts right after a big thing. Think about when was the last big dot-com bubble crashed? Oof, what did we do right after that? Started a 20-year protracted war. Interesting. I think make it incredibly likely that this conflict is actually coming. And I know there was a no more wars statement, but I think these will be special military operations that the United States decides to engage in. Now, how do we get there? How do we get past this breaking point, right? You have the huge buildup in tensions. At some point, something's got to collapse it. Well, realistically, how this usually works is the United States has a big attack against us, whether it be a real one, whether it be a false flag, if you're a conspiracy theorist, or just actually the way things are.
Uh-oh, Nate. Are you talking about the 1,500 terrorists coming in to do a kind of a one-day attack? Oh, Nate's dropping bombs. Hey, May 2nd's coming up. That's the day we took your boy Osama bin Laden off the map. Be aware. Be super vigilant because these dudes are trying to plan this attack. Golly, Nate, you dropping some fire in here, man. Like, look, everything this dude's saying is true, man. What's going to come? What's going to be the catalyst? What's going to cause the spark that starts the fire?
Yeah, so that's what my big fear is right now, is you're going to see some major attack from Iran onto, probably because they can't reach the United States with their missiles, probably on Israel. That would be the most likely, because then again, our greatest ally, we have to protect them. We cannot let this happen. Yeah, that's the way I see this most likely going down, and probably in the next couple months, because again, then you get to stoke all of the religious side of things, you get to stoke the patriotism side of things, both sides of the political aisle in Congress on board. Because remember, when the Ukraine-Russia conflict started, that was the one thing, the one issue that both sides of Congress all went bipartisan on. Have you guys ever noticed this? Same thing with the initial invasion of Iraq. Complete bipartisan support. This is the one thing that they always seem to all agree on, and that's invading other countries. Now, before I explain how the United States will actually initiate that breakpoint happens and the United States actually carries out a major strike, okay? The reality is we didn't move 6 of our B-2s there to deal with the Houthis, all right? This is the type of thing you do when you get ready to initiate full-scale conflict, right? And I'll explain why. So same thing as when we initially invaded Iraq in both number 1 and 2. First thing we did before we ever put troops on the ground was absolutely, turn to dust the entirety of the Air Force. So that will be the very first thing we do. We will absolutely gut any ability for Iran to have anything in the sky, probably within the first day to 7 days. All right, that'll be the main focus. And how you go about doing that is with, radar and anti-air missile system capable aircraft, such as B-2s, F-35s, F-18s, all these different things, right? So there's a really good video that we're going to watch that sort of explains how this will all look, because yes, that will be the very first step in this next major conflict, right? So let's watch that first.
The longest range Iranian missiles can travel about 1,800 miles or slightly more. But Diego Garcia sits well beyond that threshold. By redeploying several B-2 Spirit bombers from the 509th Bomb Wing to Diego Garcia, the U.S. ensures a secure launch point for operations across the Middle East, Africa, and the Indo-Pacific, a carefully calculated military strategy that enhances both survivability and operational reach. Across the Arabian Sea, FA-18 Super Hornets and EA-18G Growler launch from the decks of U.S. carriers, their roles already defined. Some will clear a path through Iran's air defenses, while others will guard the tankers that keep the entire operation airborne. The KC-135 Stratotankers, laden with fuel, loiter in friendly airspace over Saudi Arabia, but crews aware that their unglamorous task could mean the difference between triumph and catastrophe. As the B-2s lift off, their jagged silhouettes blend into the night sky. Stealth is their shield, but distance is their enemy. Hours into the flight, they rendezvous with tankers flying over the canal, gulping fuel midair as FA-18s circle protectively. The Growlers emit a cacophony of electronic noise masking the strike group's movements. Meanwhile, in underground command centers, U.S. analysts watch real-time feeds ready to redirect forces if Iran's radars flicker to life. Crossing into Iranian airspace is no easy task. The B-2s must climb to an extremely high altitude, their routes meticulously plotted to avoid known missile sites. Below the landscape, a vast stretch of mountains and deserts offers little cover, but the bombers' radar-absorbing skin helps them slip past enemy detection. As the targets come within range, the crews face a critical decision: launch standoff missiles from hundreds of miles away or descend to drop bunker-busting bombs directly onto fortified sites. There are different bunker buster bombs of different caliber.
So those bunker busting bombs also, we're not going to get too much in detail.
Nate, man, yet again, bro, great graphic video of how we're going to do it. Okay, there's some nuances in there. We've got a bunch of radar-seeking missiles to take out radar sites. Those are normally the first things to go. Even before these B-2s come in, F-22s are going to go in there and clear out all the air defenses before we roll the B-2s in. They've got a bunch of bombers or missiles specifically guided towards radar stations, so they'll pop off. We'll limit just like we did in the first Gulf War when we cleaned out Iraq's air defenses. Probably get a couple air-to-air kills, man. Shout out to my dude that just graduated from flight school. Hey, man, I know you're trying to race down that pipeline and get in on this action. Get you a couple MiG-29 kills over there. Shout out to my guy, man. I'm not going to say his name. He's still in the pipeline. He's at the end, but I know he's going to do well. Find himself in war real quickly, man. Let's get it.
Those will be very important too, because most of these nuclear sites that they have are going to be underground. All right, and so what that allows you to do is, drop munition that will basically bury its way through almost 200 meters of concrete and get down and, destroy things underneath that you're trying to get access to. Right, so that is how this conflict is going to start. The way I see this happening is it's going to be probably a 100% air campaign conflict. I do not think that we'll ever put any boots on the ground. Now, maybe we get there eventually, but it'll be a while. And the reason why is Iran is not Iraq. Okay, this is not a country that is super easy to just, march infantry and tanks into. And I'm going to show you why here. All right, so we're going to look at a topographical map of Iran, and it'll kind of make sense. All right, so if you look at this, obviously all the red regions, whitish regions, those are mountain ranges. So yes, unlike Iraq here to the left, which you can see is all green zone, right, which is desert and basically sea level, makes it much, much easier to, get actual ground troops into. Iran is not like that. The entire country is basically surrounded by huge mountain ranges. One of the best ways in would have been the east here into Afghanistan, right? So there's this, basically, we call it the Opium Silk Road that runs from Pakistan up through Kandahar, Helmand, out through Farah into Iran here. What's the problem with that? Well, we gave up our bases in Afghanistan.
We ran away and left all our shit there. Tell the truth, Nate. You ain't happy about it. The extraction from Afghanistan was a barn fire.
Whoops. CAF would have been a really nice base for that if we needed it, huh? But as you can see, it's going to most likely be a air campaign. Second thing is the just geographical size of the country. As you can see here, it's 4 to 5 times the size of Iraq, 2 to 3 times the size of Afghanistan. It's huge, and anything geographically that big is much more difficult to engage in conflict. Iran's military is no slouch. It's it's not a first world military, but it's not the Taliban. When we invaded Iraq for the first time, they had the 5th largest military, questionable 5th or 6th largest military in the world, and the United States absolutely dismantled the entire thing within 30 days. Okay, so yes, the United States could do it. The consequences and the casualty rate would be probably extremely high. It's going to be higher than it was in the initial GWAT, because this is going to be incredibly difficult country to actually force your way into. The U.S. population's appetite for conflict at this point, following a 20-year protracted war, a lot of people have no interest in this, right? And politically, that can be a big problem. If this has massive political backlash, then politicians aren't going to support it. However, like I said, what we do really well is stroking up the drums of patriotism and getting people on board through some type of crisis.
Ooh, 1,500 Soul Man attack in America triggers the next banger for retribution, just sheer savagery over there in the Middle East. What are we doing, man? How about we become a good country and people actually like us in the world? Banger! Man, Iran is hot! I don't think nothing's going to happen, man. Let me just tell you, I don't think nothing's going to happen. But hey, let me tell you something, man. Get you some of these Tasty Game pre-workouts. I hit them before this thing. I'm still on fire, man. Tasty Canes got me off the chain, baby. Hey, man, check out the school's classroom. We got world-class mentorship over there. We're getting ready to drop this Game Schools over on Patreon. We're going to make some changes. We're going to move a bunch of stuff over to Discord. Jump on our Discord, man. Wednesday nights, it's on fire for mentorship. The rooms are growing. We got about 2,500 people in there right now. We're going to get that bad boy up to about 20,000. We're going to start helping a ton of people go to amazing places like the military, medical school, law school, be successful in life, raise great kids. Hey, man, we building champions for life over here. If you ain't on the program, jump in.